Welcome back. This is lesson 5, and then we're going to take it from where we ended in lesson 4. Right. So let's get into it. I'll go in here to create my new document. So click on create new, right, to create my new document. So I'll go in with the default one that I've been using or the saved in there. Right. So double click, and then I have my page or my document created in here. All right. So having this as the previous lesson, we ended with the magic eraser tool, right? The magic eraser tool. And then the next one we are going to do with the gradient tool and then the paint bucket tool. With the 3D material drop tool, with that one, we're not going to tackle that for now. Right. So when we move on onto the 3D workspace, right? We will look at that, but now we are on the essentials workspace. So we are sticking to the tools that are going to work on this workspace. So here I have the gradient tool. So the gradient tool is for applying gradient. And then when you talk about gradient, what is gradient? Gradient is a blend of two or more colors. A blend of two or more colors. So here, once I click on this, yes, there is a gradient that I've applied in there. So let me cancel this. So that's a gradient in here, right? There's a gradient in here. So let me click on this in here, and then it can open this for me. But okay, I'm not going with this for now. So let me cancel this, right? When you talk about this gradient in here, so I click on gradient. We have 5 types of gradients in Photoshop, right? So these are the types of gradients. So we have the first one, right? That's the linear gradient. This here, that's the radial gradient. We have the angle gradient. We have the reflected gradient, and then we have the diamond gradient. So with this here, having this the linear gradient, and then this, that's my colors in here. So I click and drag, right, and then have my gradient being applied in here, right? So you can click and drag to any direction, and it gives you a linear gradient in there. And then the next one in there, that's the radial gradient in here. So with this, click and drag, and then it gives me a radial gradient, right? All right. The next one in there, I have the angle gradient. So I go with that, and then I can click this, and then this gives me an angle gradient, right, in here, right? So that gives you at an angle, right? Gives you at an angle. Then the next one in there, that's the reflected gradient in here. So click and drag, right? And then I have that. So that's the reflection, right, of the gradient. That's the reflected gradient in here. And then we have the next one in here, that's the diamond gradient. So I click and drag, and then this gives me a diamond gradient in here. Now with the colors also, we can change the colors, right? We can change the colors. So with that, let me go in with the linear gradient for now, right? And then come on to this. So once I come to click in here, or I click on the drop down, you have some colors in here which you can go for. So we have the basics in here. So the first one here, right? This color here, it's picking the colors from the swatches that I have in here. That's the foreground color and then the background color. So we have a blend of this yellow and then the sea blue over here. So it's picking these colors from here. So once I have this, click on this, I can now click and drag to apply that gradient. So I go in there, right, and I can select this in here. So this part of it is filled with the color, and then part of it is transparent. So I click and drag, right? I have part being filled with color, and then part also being transparent, right? So we are going to look at that very well. And then we have this in here, that's the black and white, right? So click and drag, and then I have my black and white gradient applied in here. Can go in there. So this is the basics. I have the blues also. So we can pick any of these ones in there and then apply. That's the same way. We have the purples in here, which you can go with and then apply any of those ones. And then you can create your custom gradients as well. So I come to click in here and I have my gradients in here. So this here, right, the notes down here, these are for the colors, and then these ones up here, that's for the opacity or transparency. So yes, we are going to work with the ones down in here. Right? We are not going to touch these ones for now. So I can double click on this here, and then I change the color, right? Or I can click here once and then come to double click on this one in here, or just click on it once and then it opens this, so you can have the color in here. Okay, so I have two blends, right? So that's the red and then the blue. So once I have this, I can click on OK, then come to click and drag in here, then I add the colors. Also, I can go in there. Let's say this is giving me only two blend, right? And I said the gradients can give you two or more blend of colors. So if I want to add more colors, I just have to position my cursor this way that I see the hand, right, pointing in there. So once I click in here, it adds a color in here, and then the color, why is it yellow? It's yellow because it's picking it from the foreground color. I can give another color also. It also picks from the foreground color. But with this, yes, I can double click on this and then I change this to a different color. So now I have four blend of colors. That's the red, the yellow, the green, and then the blue. So once I have these ones in here, I can just click on OK. I come to click and drag, and then I have those colors being applied in here. So you can have it in any direction depending on how you click and drag. Or I can go with the radial in there, click and drag, and then I have the blend of those colors here. Right. Okay, so you can always go in there and then change it. If you've added a color and then you want to delete that color also, this you just click and then drop it. Right? You click and then drag it down to drop the color. Right? So this, I have this in here. Let me change this color also to red, and then I'll go with a theme red. So okay, and then you can click and drag, and then I have this blend of this color. I can go with the radial, right? Yes, I use that the most, and then I go with this. So I have that. The next one in here, that's the paint bucket tool. Now this paint bucket tool, okay, let me talk about still with the gradient. Having the gradient in here, you can load a selection, right? You can load a selection. So let me change, let me go to my layers. Okay, I have this. So let me change the background color back to white. So I select white, then I hit Alt backspace. So I give it. I can load a selection in here. So once I have this selection loaded, right, and then I go for the gradient tool and then try to fill it, it's going to fill only the selected portion. Okay. Right. So whenever I have a selection and then use the gradient, it's going to fill that portion. So let me undo this. Okay, and then the selection, anytime you want to deselect, go to the select menu and then deselect. The shortcut is also there, which you can use. That's Control and D. So I deselect that. The next one in there, we have the paint bucket tool. The paint bucket tool is also for filling colors. So with that, it picks the color from the foreground color in here in your color swatches. So let me double click on this, change the color here. And then once I click, it fills it. Right, it fills the color. With that also, you can load a selection of with any of the selection tools, or I can go with the lasso tool, just any irregular selection. I have it in here. Let me change this color. So double click in here, change the color to blue. Okay. Then I come in for my paint bucket, right? My paint bucket. I click in here and then it applies the color. I can go with select the select menu and then I deselect this. Okay. So that's how the paint gradient tool and then the paint bucket tool. That's how they work. All right. The next one in there we have the blur tool. The blur tool. Right. So it's just as the name goes, used to apply blur to images. And then we have the sharpen tool that's also used to sharpen the image. Now with this sharpen tool, when using it, it has to be moderate. If you use it too much, it's going to spoil your image or the quality of your image. And then we have the smudge. tool, right? The smudge tool for smudging. So let me go in here, and then we have the blur tool. So the blur tool, let me open an image for this. Okay, let me go in with this one here and drop. All right, so I drop this one here. So I come in here for the blur tool. Once I select it, right, on the control panel in here, I have the blur, I have the brush in here. So I'm using, that's a soft brush. The hardness, you see the hardness is 0. Right, I can increase it or decrease it. And then the brush size, I can do it in here or use my square brackets opened and then close. And then the strength, also the strength of it is 50%. I'll leave it here. Then the mode is normal. So let me increase the size using my square brackets close, and then I click and then brush. So once I brush, you can see this, the eye is becoming blur. So look at this and then compare to this, you can see that this is blur. If I come in here, click and drag or paint in here, I can see it becomes blur. So that's what the blur tool is used for. That's what the blur tool. So I can make this part blur in here. I can make this part blur in here. So that's the use of the blur tool. And then the next one in the okay, the next thing there we have the sharpen tool. The sharpen tool also is used to sharpen an image. So that also, there's the size of it. I can come in here and then increase the size from here, or use the square brackets, open a square bracket to close to decrease or increase it. So having this in here, with that also, yes, the strength is 50%. I'll leave it as such. So I click and drag to brush it. So let me undo this first, and then this in here, I'll create a duplicate of it. So okay, so that is, you right click and then go with duplicate layer, or we can go with the shortcut Control J, and then I'm going to have that. So I come in for this in here, and then let's look at it very well. So I brush on this. Okay, so let me brush on it, right, and then brush on this also. Let me brush on the eye, okay, and brush on this eye as well. So now we can see this is on top. So if I hide this, then you can see the difference. You can see the difference, like how the sharpness is in there. Now this, using it, as I said, it has to be moderate. Now if I should use this too much in here, you see that the image will start turning into something else. Okay. We see what's happening here. Right, you see what's happening here. So the sharpen tool, we don't use it too much. Once you use that too much in here, it's going to spoil the image for you. Right, you see what's causing in here. So yes, when using it, it has to be moderate so that you get whatever that you want. So this in here, if I want to use it, I just brush 1 2, right, I just 1 2, come in here, brush in here, come also this point, brush in here, and then yes, I have my image being sharpened in here. So that is it. I just go with this one, right, and then this is cool, right? Okay, so when using that, you have to make sure you use it moderately. And then the next thing here, I have the smudge tool. So the smudge tool here, let me change the brush to general brush in here. So that's also for smudging, right? So as I click, right, and drag, and then that is going to smudge in here, right? So the strength is too much. Let me undo this in here. I think the strength is too much, 100%. Let me reduce it to somewhere 50. Okay, so 50. Then, right. So this is like smudging, using those who draw, right, using the thumb, right, to smudge. So that's the smudge tool, right? That's for smudging, right? As the name goes. Right? Okay. The next thing there, right? The next in there we have the dodge, the burn, and then the sponge tool. the dot, the burn, and then the sponge tool. So off. Let me delete this in here. So the dot tool here, this to, it's used to brighten an image. It's used to brighten an image. So this exposure is 27%. I can increase that a little bit. Okay, and then the size, I come in here, then increase the size. So this also, let me right click in here, make a duplicate of it, then okay. So I'm going to use the dodge tool in there. So the dodge tool, as I said, used to brighten up an image. So once I click on this, you see it brightens the image. This brightens the image. The dodge tool brightens the image. So I can brush again, right? And this makes the image brighter in here, right? But with this also, when using it, it has to be moderate. Use it moderately, right, in here. So let me undo that. Then the next in there, you have the burn tool, right? The burn tool. So I go in here also, increase the size, and then that also is to darken an image or to burn an image. So once I apply that, you can see the burn in there, right? The burn in there. So this burns the image, right? So as the dodge tool brightens it, the burn tool also burns the image. So I undo this. Now mostly, right, mostly what most people use the dodge tool for. Now this one, let me go for the dodge tool. This is it, right? I reduce the size of it using a square bracket open, or you can just go in there here and then reduce the size in here. So this is, I use it to brush here, right? And see it's making the eye very white in here. Okay, so reduce the size and then brush in here, makes the eye very white, very white. So I'll come in here, do it for this point also, and then I have it. So it makes the eye very white. Let me see if I can get any other image which I can use to demonstrate what I want to talk about. And this is already done in there. Okay, it's okay. Let me go in, check for a different one. Okay, it's also done, but mostly, okay, let me explain, then I'm sure you are going to get that. So this mostly, right, what people use the dodge tool for, they use it for the teeth, right? Make the teeth whiter, right? So this just brush on it. This is already white, though I'm just brushing on it. So can use the dodge tool, right? Make the teeth very white in here. So I brush on this, and then you see that. And then brushing it also is, you have to, it has to be moderate. It shouldn't be too much, right? If it becomes too much, it will look very edited. So here also I come in with the eye and then try it. Right? Okay. I just makes the eye look high. Right. So that's what most people use the dodge tool for. And that's what most people use the dodge tool for if you're using it. So once you get a dodge tool, there's something that you can use it for, some of the things that you can use the dodge tool for. Right. And then the next one in there, right? The next one in there, I talk about um the sponge tool, right? Sponge tool also this mixes the color in here. So click right and drag and then mixes with the color that is dominating more in there, right? So let me come in here, change this, okay, and then try it. Also that one is it uses the color that dominates more in the right, that is in the image. So I have that. So that is a sponge to in here. So that also the mood. Okay, the mood is saturate. Let me go with saturate in here, right? And then I brush, right? Okay, I brush in there, right? Okay. So the saturate, that's it. Just making it black and white in there. So that's the meaning of desaturating there. The flow is in here, which you can go with, right? And then look at that. So yes, as a sponge using the saturate in there. If you go in with the saturate, then it's going to give you sort of black and white as I'm having or I first did in there. Right. Okay. Right. So with the saturate, yeah, it gives you some nice some color in here. Right. So I undo this in there. The next thing, right? The next thing you have the pen tool, right? The freeform pen tool, the curvature pen tool, the add anchor point tool, the delete anchor point tool, and then the convert point tool. So with this, by the pen tool, I'm going to save this right for the next lesson because the pen tool is a broad topic. By the pen tool alone is a broad topic and it's going to take much time. So yes, I'll end this one in here. So we looked at the gradients tool, the pin bucket tool, the 3D material drop to sorry, the 3D material is this one. I said we'll be looking at this in the next maybe lessons to come. And then here also we looked at the blur, the sharpen, and then the smudge, and then we looked at the dodge, the burn, and then the sponge tool. So yes, the next topic in here we are going to look at as a pen tool in the next lesson, and then after that we look at all these ones as part of as the final lessons for the tools. Then we move on to some other things in there, right? So thanks for watching. Right? Don't forget to subscribe, right? Share to others who need it, right? And then leave your comment also in the comment section, right? Thanks for watching.